How do you respond after you make a mistake? That's what we're going to look at here in this video. And before we jump into the two aspects or two components that you need to look at in terms of how you respond, I also want to go over and help you to understand that a lot of the time what you might label a mistake is actually really technically a slip. A slip is something that when our automatic processes are disrupted, often by something like our own distracting thoughts. So for example, if you're a baseball player and you're fielding a ground ball and you're still thinking about your last at bat, and because of that you missed the ground ball, that is what we consider a slip, not a mistake. A mistake is actually choosing not to do something that is like an intentional process. So for example, if you are a basketball player and you know you need to practice your free throws, and you make a choice not to practice your free throws between games, and then you go into your next game and you still struggle, that is a mistake because you purposely made that choice. So in the middle of a competition, usually if you're not performing the way that you want to, it probably is more considered a slip than a mistake unless you made a choice and didn't actually develop the skill sets needed to then be able to perform. So now that we kind of have that out of the way, regardless of how you label it, there's really two components in terms of how you need to respond or what you want to look at in terms of your response to not doing something that you wanted to do in the middle of a competition. Number one is being able to respond in that exact moment. So as soon as it's happened, you need to be able to respond. And the best way for you to be able to respond is to bring yourself back to the present moment. And that requires a certain level of attentional skill set. The ability to be aware of maybe either the emotions rising or the thoughts that are starting to stream through your mind, and being able to move beyond them and to bring yourself back. And just to bring yourself back also requires your attentional skill set. And so that is all that you need to be able to do in that moment to be able to respond, is get yourself back to the present moment and the task at hand. Number two, in terms of looking at how you want to respond after you've done something you didn't like, is what do you do in between competitions or games? Once it's now done, how do you learn? Or do you even learn? Do you learn from what has just happened? And if so, do you then take action to train the skill set necessary to become better the next time and hopefully not do that slip again? For example, if we're looking back at the baseball player and having distracting thoughts that then cause them to miss the ground ball, maybe some attentional training is going to be best for them to do. And if they don't learn that and don't do anything purposely to train their attention, then that technically is the mistake. If you do not actually do something to learn from what has happened, to take action on it and to train the skill sets, that's the mistake. And all too often we focus too heavily on the physical side. If you're a baseball player and you pretty much can do ground balls in your sleep and you miss a ground ball, that's not a physical thing. That is a mental skill set that needs to be addressed and improved. So there you have it. When it comes to whether you call it a mistake or a slip and your ability to respond, you need to look at how do you respond in that moment, how well can you get yourself back to being present, and how well do you learn and take action on what you need to become better in those skill sets so that the next time you go out there, you're able to be better.